People often ask, why the foundation and why now? The why the foundation is kind of obvious. 1 billion people continue to smoke in the world, and that's unacceptable. It's just too many deaths. The why now, I think, is a more intriguing question. The fourth industrial revolution is the reason why we have an opportunity for change now. So what is it? It's the convergence of so many technologies that are going to improve the health and social lot of people around the world. As a medical student, I was shocked doing the epidemiology that the #1 cause of preventable death was smoking. And then the reason we didn't have cessation products was because we hadn't seen the innovation in the pharmaceutical area. Today, it became very clear that there were some things that the tobacco company was starting to do that could very well lower risk long term, but that we weren't going to be certain until we had high quality science and research to evaluate what they were doing. We turned to the question of how do you meet the funding gap and how do you build an independent foundation. The work we're undertaking now is probably the most ambitious work I've ever tried to do. What we've seen over the last few decades is that you don't have smokers in tobacco control. They'd be shunned and stigmatized and pushed out. In this Smoke-Free Foundation, we have to engage them deeply since they know what is in their best interest. Less tobacco purchase, less grown, less demand. Some of the most vulnerable farming communities in the world happen to be smallholder, often women farmers. And thinking about the livelihoods of those farmers is something we believe we have an ethical obligation to do. We'll have a grounded facility, a physical home in Malawi. We are starting to have real facts on the ground, real centers, real cows, alternative crops, real indices, people really deployed. The main change we had to make to accelerate progress was to reframe the debate around tobacco as being one about human frailty to being one about corporate irresponsibility. And this is a perfect time for an industry revolution in the tobacco sector. What happens if they change? What happens if the unthinkable really happens and they're starting to find a way of separating nicotine from the bad stuff? We already know that we will have launched, through our partners, the first smoke-free index. And that'll give us a first quantitative sense of which of the companies are really on the move to change, which are still being recalcitrant, which have yet to get off the block. I never suspected that we'd actually get a wide range of some of the top researchers engaging with us so early on with such powerful proposals. 2019 becomes the year when we accelerate the progress by now having the partnerships in place, the passion in place, become servants of our grantees as we start moving forward for the years ahead. We can end smoking as we define it. If we become a catalyst for others to accelerate change around us, there's no reason why it can't happen in the kind of time frame we're talking about. The thing that makes our foundation different from others is that we don't take no for an answer, and we don't believe the impossible exists.